Hi everyone, welcome back to the Stay Hungry podcast. I'm pleased to welcome Jason Kearns. Today we're talking about bulletproof mindset. Jason, how you doing, mate?
Not bad yourself.
All right, straight off the plane, straight in a, well, not straight in a Shrewsbury taxi.
Yeah. Well, got introduced to the locals. Pretty sound. Shared a taxi when there wasn't many available.
Were they locals as well? Did you get
Yeah.
chatting?
Yeah, there were like a couple in like their 60s and said, "Do you want to jump in with us?" I said, "I'm going to Shrewsbury Business Park. Is it anywhere close to you?" They said, "Yeah." Here I am.
Did they get dropped first or you?
I did.
Oh, okay, so you didn't get to stalk where they live.
No.
Yeah, I wonder where that was. That's nice of them.
Yeah, it was. It was sound.
Nice.
Nice. I'd probably be still standing there if not.
Yeah. So for the idiots that might not know who you are, who is Jason Kearns?
I suppose in simple words, I am an ordinary sound cunt who is helping ordinary lads just do extraordinary things.
Yeah.
So I run the Lean and Limitless Academy, and basically it's my principle is like fix the head and the rest will follow.
Okay.
You know, everyone says you can't out train a bad diet. That is true to an extent, but I actually take it one further that you actually can't out diet a bad mindset.
Ah, okay. And what kind of like brought you to this? Why are you so mindset focused? Because I know a lot of coaches and
Yeah, so it's through my own story, my own struggles. So probably around, geez, I'm getting old now. It's probably about 10 years ago. 9, 10 years ago, I struggled with my own mental health. Ended up crippled with anxiety, depression, tried to take my own life. And before that, I had been a qualified PT,
Yeah.
and I was into my sport. And the reality was, when I was at my lowest, I wasn't in bad shape.
okay.
I was reasonably fit. I was playing football and stuff. And I think it just goes to show, in my opinion, the industry kind of has it backwards. Everyone says, go exercise and it'll fix your head and everything will be okay. Yes, it's true to an extent that, being active, it's good for your mental health. But I think everyone has it backwards. I think if you fix the head first, then exercising is not actually a chore.
Yeah.
It should never be. Because if it is a chore, it's not going to last long term.
That's really interesting. So what did it look like when you realised that your mental health wasn't right?
The funny thing is, and this is maybe a bit controversial, but I think there's two types of depression.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first one is basically an inability to handle challenge. Something really bad happens in life. Maybe somebody loses someone close to them, or a tragedy, or whatever it is, and they struggle to actually deal with that, and they're
Like
depressed.
grief.
Grief, or maybe like losing a big job, or like a business folding, like it's just an inability to handle challenge. The other one is what I think is actually more scary, and proper depression is when you don't actually know why. There's no reason, and that's kind of where I was. I had the job, I was qualified, had qualified as a teacher, had a teaching job, steady job, government job. I had the fancy car, I had the great girlfriend, everything in life was perfect. I had lots of friends, was out every weekend. That was probably half the problem. But yeah, I just had this like huge sense of overwhelm, and that like I'd no purpose. Looking back on it all now, I understand a lot of it was because I have ADHD.
Yeah.
I didn't know at the time that I did. Anyone that knows me now is like, how the fuck did you not know?
About 10 years ago, people didn't even know what ADHD was.
No, and the thing is, I was a qualified teacher. I should have known.
But like we were still talking about like E numbers and like hyperactivity, and it was called ADD, not ADHD. And
being honest, like I associated with just like little fuckers who were misbehaved in school. Like I was a teacher, and that's what I associated with. Even then, in later years, when I sort of maybe realized there was something like that, I didn't really want to accept it because I still had that like connection to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking back at it now, it's like I know that as someone with ADHD, you have lower dopamine levels naturally. Therefore, you go chase dopamine. I was chasing dopamine and all the wrong things. I was drinking, that got really out of hand then. It's just constantly chasing the high, and then the lows are even lower than your normal person.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to describe it as well. That like I actually saw a coach the other day say depression's not real, and I was like, and he's quite a famous coach. I was like, you're so fucking lucky to think that.
Yeah.
Like, and naive, because what he's not able to factor in, it'd be like telling someone to understand what it's like to have a broken leg who's never broke their leg. It's like what he's not factoring in is if you're the kind of person like you're describing where you need dopamine just to feel normal, without it,
Yeah.
you can't feel content. You can't. You
Yeah.
just feel like shit. And for someone who's never experienced that, they don't understand.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's like I said, I think there's two different things. It's an inability to deal with challenge, which
Yeah.
is probably what affects most people. But then the one where you don't really know what's going on, but
Yeah.
you obviously you just don't want to be here.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
just a wreck. You're breaking down, crying. I think that's probably for a lot of people linked to ADHD. Not always,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think there's still a lot of undiagnosed adults walking around who don't realize this is why they're drinking every weekend. This is why they're on the bag. This is why they're the last one standing at every party. Like, they're just constantly chasing more. And then some people, get out of that and they channel it into running or, something more positive,
Yeah, yeah.
business, but it's still an addiction.
Oh, 100%.
I
We know
think-
loads of people like that, right?
Yeah, yeah. And to be fair, like, I've been like that even, like, the start of my journey when I got myself, I suppose, out of the real bad place with my mental health was martial arts. That's what I got into martial arts. I got fully addicted. I just took it up as I wanted to try something different. Ended up fighting professionally. Like, within a couple of years, that was obviously never the intention.
How does that happen? Because you're a late starter, like a very late starter.
Yeah.
Because I did martial arts, but I started martial arts when I was 5.
Yeah, yeah.
And then and there wasn't a professional route in judo, but got to a good standard. But I didn't get to that standard until I was like 18, and that's 13 years in the game. So explain how you.
I think 2016 I went to my first MMA class.
What age was that then?
So I'm 32 now. So yeah, I was about 20. Maybe 2015, was it? I was somewhere around 25, 26. I'd say.
Yeah, yeah.
I went to McGregor versus Mendes in Vegas,
Mm-hmm.
and like every Irish lad out there, obviously drank the head off myself for a week. But I came back from it and I said, I'm going to start MMA.
That is late.
Yeah.
And it hurts when you're older.
Yeah, yeah. It was late. It was late. Yeah, yeah. But I just got obsessed. It was my new it was my new thing instead of drinking. Was like it played a big part in changing my life. And I was training for a while. I actually had my first couple of classes in Ireland, and then I moved to Dubai as a teacher, and the drinking got really out of hand at that point,
Mhm.
and I ended up drinking like 5-6 days a week. And then after doing that for like probably a year, I was like, something needs to change, and I found a guy, Murph Mulholland, who's actually from Belfast, and he would have fought in Cage Warriors and stuff, and he happened to be out in Dubai. And to me, looking at him, like, I thought he was like a fucking hero. Like, it's like an idol, because he'd like fought in Cage Warriors and stuff, proper like mixed martial artist. And I scoped out the gym he was in, went down, trained with him, and we just clicked him. We became real good friends from the start. And he's like, you're pretty fucking raw, like, around the edges, but you have something. He's like, we'll tidy you up a little bit and we'll get you a fight. Like, and I think that was in around September.
And how long
or
have you been
October
doing it then?
of 2018. So I'd been doing like on and off for a couple of months in Ireland, then came back, and then I had my first amateur fight would have been December 2018.
Okay.
And so won that. Then I think it was like February, there was a fight. It's just classic Dubai, like, it was on the top of the rooftop of a hotel. They put a cage and all up there, and John Kavanagh actually brought out a team of Irish lads.
Yeah, yeah.
And they were fighting basically a team of Polish lads. So it was Ireland versus Poland. And then I opened like on the undercard that night. And I ended up choking the guy with a guillotine, put him asleep in like 20 seconds or something. When I met with John Kavanagh, came over to me. I'd never met him before, but obviously looked up to him, like having followed Conor and stuff. And
so just for the listeners, who's John Kavanagh? Because they
so John Kavanagh would be Conor McGregor's head coach in SBG in Ireland. And I would obviously looked up to him massively, and he came over and he was joking. He's like, I was supposed to sit down for the first fight and explain to the local and the locals what was kind of happening, and MMA would have been quite new, and he's like, it was kind of over in 20 seconds, and I was like, I had to stay for the second fight and tell him what was going on. So we're laughing about that, and then that was grand. I had another fight, I think it was March, and I went back to Ireland then that summer, and one of the guys I'd actually met on that trip, I met up with him, trained with him a few times in the summer, and he's like, the trials for the Irish IMAFs are coming up, like, you should give it a go, like, what if you lose? And I was like, I'm not really up to that standard, I wouldn't think, like, haven't been trained that long or whatever, but it's like this thing, if you don't try, you don't know. So I went anyway, and I actually kind of went in at the wrong weight class. I just went in what I was weighing, what everyone else was like going in at what they were going to fight at. So I was about like 5 kilos lighter than everyone that I went with that day. But, you know, I held my ground, you know, and afterwards, like, the coach said to me, like, you know, what weight are you actually? And I was like, I'm walking around at like 65 kg at the time. And he's like, yeah, so you could make 61 then. I was like, oh yeah, that's what I fought at like previously. So he's like, he rang me then later and was like, yeah, we have a place for you if you can make 61. And I was like, yeah, of course I can make 61 to fight for my country. Like,
yeah.
You know, so that was November then of 2019. Out in Bahrain was the IMAFs, and basically the amateur world championships, like, for MMA. And it's crazy to think that, like, I even ever got to fight for my country. Like, I'd be lying if I said I grew up wanting to do that. Like, I didn't.
Yeah.
You know?
So, like, let's take a step back for a sec. So, I've only ever done judo, and I know what it felt like as an adult for the first time to step onto the mat in judo. What did it feel like to step into the cage for the first time in a proper fight?
Yeah, it's a bit mental. Like, there's no feeling like it.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, there's no drug in the world can match it. Like, you know, that feeling of just being in there. Obviously, when you win, then even more so. But like, the nerves is something else.
Yeah.
Like, anyone who says they're not nervous, like, it's just
Full of
fucking
shit.
liar. Like, you know. And funny, I was talking about this with my friend Brian Moore, another fighter back from Wexford there the other day, and they were talking about nerves and stuff, and he's like, the more nervous I've been, the better my performances have been.
Okay.
And I would say the same for myself, and I think it's the case for most people. Like, if you're not nervous, something is actually wrong.
Yeah.
And most people, if they're not nervous, like, they maybe are too lax or whatever, underperform, maybe underestimate their opponent, whatever it was. Like, you're going in to fight a guy, you should be nervous.
Yeah,
You know,
100%.
Man to man in the cage, 4-ounce gloves. Like, when I was doing amateur fights, it was a bit wild as well. Like, I think it was my second or third amateur fight was 4-ounce gloves, no shin pads, and heel hooks were allowed. So, like, it was basically pro without knees to the head. And obviously didn't get paid. But
Do you know that the editor of this podcast is going to really fucking shout at me if I don't turn off the overhead lights? So I'm going to do it now whilst we're going. That's better. That'll look way better for reels.
Yeah, gotta make some good reels now.
Yeah, so carry on.
So yeah, and then after that, basically went to the IMAFs, and it's funny, all this kind of, like, people I would have really looked up to. So Paddy Houlihan, I don't know if you know, like, an Irish guy would have fought in UFC. People joked that me and him looked the very same. He was like cornering me at the IMAFs. Like, it's just crazy. Like, I watched him fighting in the UFC, and I was like, oh, this guy's here now cornering me and stuff. And like, I was really nervous going out to the IMAFs. Like, the best people in the world. So in a way, I felt like I shouldn't have been there. You know, I hadn't trained for long enough. I didn't, but I deserved to be there, and I went. I done my trials, and I got called. So, he could see how nervous I was, like, and he just said, "Look, if you get third in the second round, I'll jump in for you. No one will notice anyway." I like made a bit of a joke about it, and it actually really did help a lot. But I ended up getting drawn against, like, the world champion in the first round, and so, like, the champions wearing, like, a gold jersey where you're wearing just the normal blue or red and your country flag on it, and I was so green I didn't even know what the gold jersey meant. Okay. So, like, I said to Paddy walking out, I was like, well, what's the crack with the gold jersey? And he's like, sure, that's because he's a champion, like. And I was like, right, my work cut out here. So it's a guy from Kazakhstan, and like, no point lying about it, he wrestled the shit out of me for 3 rounds. Like, I hung in there, I didn't get finished, I last on decision, but there was a few chances I nearly caught him in a submission triangle and stuff. I held my ground, didn't get finished, was put in some bad positions, and obviously you're disappointed to lose and get knocked out, but to go fight for my country against the guy from Kazakhstan who was the world champion, who'd probably been wrestling since he was 3 years old. To be fair. Like, those guys are savages.
Yeah.
I took a lot of fucking pride from it. Like, I took a lot from it that maybe I'm capable of more than I thought. So yeah, I went straight back then to drawing board. Like, just was even more obsessed with training, more obsessed with learning wrestling. I think after that I ended up having like 2 more amateur fights, maybe 3, and then got the call for did I want a pro fight out in Dubai, and I was like, yeah, 100%, of course I do. So that very first one then fell through. The guy pulled out like the day of weighing, but then like I think it was about 2 months after. So it was around December 2020. I think I ended up fighting pro. So it was like COVID times, which was strange, because it was outside in Dubai, beside like the Burj Khalifa. So you're fighting with like the Burj Khalifa in the background, and then there's just like a small crowd of like really important people.
Yeah, yeah.
COVID rules didn't apply to, and yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, I ended up winning that fight. Like, and I was against a guy who, like, a really solid background of like I think he had some like 30 amateur fights or something. Like, he was, and he'd fought one of my friends the year before, who I would have considered to be a lot better than me, and my friend bet him on decision. So I was like, I'm going to have my work cut out here. But yeah, I managed to win that as well. And yeah, it was a crazy journey of like just taking it up and getting obsessed with it. But I think the main thing was, and I realized this afterwards, I always said when I was growing up, like, I'd love to be a football player, you know.
Yeah,
like most kids, you know. And even as a teenager, I was still kind of saying the same thing. I never tried.
Yeah, yeah.
I never tried to be a football player.
And I think that's what people don't realise. It's like these kids that make it as a football player,
They put into work.
oh, hours and hours every day.
Yeah. Like, I trained twice a week and played a match on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Saturday. Like, that was my trying to be a footballer.
Yeah, and you're like quite good on a local level for that.
Yeah, it was quite, when I got into MMA, I was training every day. I was obsessed. I was watching tutorials. I was studying fights. I was like it was different. I realized, like, you know, if I could have my time back, if I wanted to be anything, like, I believe anyone can be anything if they actually put in enough work.
Oh, absolutely. And like that mindset piece of like having a sense of purpose as well, that like, I like this, I'm going to do this. It isn't destructive, so it's not going to, like, I mean, MMA could do you harm, but it's not going to do me harm in the sense that I'm not ruining my liver or putting drugs in my system.
Yeah.
Like, how did that feel, making that change from like destructive behaviors to being obsessed about something that roundabouts was good for you?
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously there was far less negatives. Now, the thing was, being like completely honest on it, when I got into MMA, it was still like I wouldn't drink for a number of weeks because I had a fight coming up and I was in camp. But then when I'd finished the fight, I would fucking drink.
Okay.
And I'd drink heavy. You know, and I'd celebrate and I'd reward myself, you know. So I never actually fixed the problem, really. Yeah. You know, and it's only in the last couple of years that I've actually fixed the problem with the relationship with drink and stopped using it as a crutch, you know.
Yeah.
I suppose that journey with the alcohol probably started with taking mushrooms.
Okay.
That was probably the first thing that kind of allowed me, I suppose, to unlock a part of my brain that wasn't unlocked before. Made me realise that, do you know what, there is a life out there without alcohol. Kind of made me realise I can have fun without alcohol. I can laugh without alcohol. I can, you know, like, still to this day, it's like one of the best nights I've ever had in my life without alcohol, just having mushrooms.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and it kind of really opened my eyes. Now, obviously, just like from a chemical point, from what psilocybin does, you know, there's obviously a lot of benefits to mushrooms and what it's doing for your mental health, and that all played a part. But I think a huge part of it was it just allowed me to see that, like, I am okay without alcohol. Like,
yeah, you can have fun without alcohol.
I can socialise, you know. And then that led on to kind of challenge myself a bit more, and I said, right, I'll do 6 months without it, you know. And throughout that time, then I actually ended up doing ayahuasca as well. Okay. And
so what did that look like? Because there'll be people listening to this that don't even know what ayahuasca is.
It's hard to even explain. Ayahuasca is so it's an ancient Amazonian plant medicine. Yeah. And so it's a psychedelic plant. Yeah. And you're basically doing it in a ceremony, like with a shaman, and it's a ritual. You know, it's not like a drug, as in like for a recreational purpose. Yeah, you're doing it for a reason. You know.
Yeah, you sometimes see like explorers do it on TV shows and stuff with tribes and things like that. Yeah. There's actually a good documentary on YouTube from, do you know that guy James English? Yeah, yeah. He this is a good few years ago. Like, I don't think he would have been as big back then. He's quite big now, I think, in terms of his Instagram and stuff. Yeah.
but he went and done it in like South America someplace and kind of made a documentary.
Right.
And it's quite interesting. Actually explains it quite well. So if anyone was wanting to look about it, it's a good documentary. But the easiest way I could describe ayahuasca is it's like getting a helicopter ride to the top of the mountain. So you can see what's on the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
And you can see kind of like the best path to get up there and stuff.
Yeah.
But you can't get off the helicopter and get to the top. Like, it's not a shortcut.
Okay.
It's just giving you clarity on
where you're
going, what you're trying to do.
See, you told me this story when we didn't really know each other very well.
You probably thought I was fucking mental.
No, I didn't. I didn't think you were mental. But I think you must have judged me all right, because there would definitely have been people on that trip that would have gone, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah.
And when you said to me, it's like getting a helicopter ride to the top of the mountain to see where you're going, and it unlocked a lot of understanding of your own self. Like, what does that look like?
It's hard to describe. Like ayahuasca will give you what you need.
Okay.
Basically, it would be different for everyone. But for me, I seen a life without alcohol when I done ayahuasca.
Yeah.
That was a big thing that I took from it. And one of the other things I seen was like really vivid images of me in like my branded coaching gear and stuff, like in the gym, and like cameramen and stuff, and I didn't really know, like, didn't make much sense to me at the time.
Yellow walls, lights, podcasts, microphones.
Yeah, something like that. Code break in the background. No, but it was only like a couple of months later I recorded basically a whole like 300 brand new exercise library for my coaching app.
Yeah.
And I took a picture on my phone of they set up with the cameras and stuff, and like just put on my story, like, big things coming. And it was like that was the picture.
Yeah.
If I had a flashback then, if that's what I seen when I done ayahuasca. And it just really kind of confirmed to me that like I'd made the right choice to leave teaching and pursue coaching and to build this business. It gave me real like confidence in that. It gave me clarity that there was a life ahead that didn't need alcohol. And in this time I'd set myself a challenge of like, I'm going to do 6 months without alcohol. And then I came to, I think it was maybe July last year, when I had a wedding. Then I said, yeah, look, I've done my 6 months, so I'll have a few points. And I had 4 points, and I put down the 5th one. And for me, like, that's unheard of.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't say this in the way of like someone else like, oh, I drink so much. Like, I'm actually ashamed to say this now. Like, there's times I would have drank like 12, 14 pints.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big man. I would have been so upside down drunk, not knowing what I'm saying, not remembering anything, like blackout drunk, waking up places, not knowing how I got there, So to be able to actually drink 4 and put down the 5th one, for me, was like completely unheard of. Like, that was a mass. That for me, that was better than giving it up completely. Like, I think there's no point in being an alcoholic, stopping drinking. But the minute you have one drink, you're fucking back on it. Like, that's not really fixing the problem.
And do you think, like, because obviously that made you realise you'd got self-control that you never used to have. What did that feel like? Because there'll be people who want to do a coaching program who like maybe struggle with their weight, so they don't have any self-control around food, struggle with drinking, struggle with drugs, maybe struggle with their emotions, struggle with getting up in the morning. And for you to suddenly realise that the one thing that you'd never had any control over, you suddenly did, must have been...
Yeah. Well, I'd say like it wasn't sudden either.
Yeah.
It was a process. And throughout the time when I said, all right, I'm not drinking for 6 months, I forced myself to go out and still socialise.
Yeah.
And drink pints of Guinness Zero. And, to prove to myself that I could be in situations and not need alcohol.
Yeah, it's not about...
Because a lot of my drinking was out of social anxiety, like.
Okay, that's interesting.
And I didn't really know how to fit in if I wasn't drunk.
And yet now you're like pretty outgoing, chatty guy.
Yeah, I always was. But I just need a few drinks to let it out.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I was always the one cracking jokes and like having people laugh and.
Yeah, yeah.
But that was like that again. That's a bit of a thing with ADHD. People kind of say inappropriate things and make people laugh as a bit of a crutch.
I'm worried I've got ADHD now.
Yeah, you probably definitely do. But like I was always like that, but I just needed a few drinks to bring it out. Whereas now it's kind of like I forced myself to do it, so I proved that I actually didn't, and it was just a fucking crutch.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I created a very simple rule for myself, and that was that if I wouldn't be comfortable there sober, I don't go there.
That's cool.
So, like for example, me, you, Ben went out in Miami.
Yep.
Like great crack, like in the stitches laughing. I'm pretty sure you were drinking as well. Two of you were drinking.
Yeah, we were drinking, yeah.
I wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, Ben was drinking.
Yeah, Ben was drinking. Ben used to drink.
And I think I had 3 drinks, but yeah, we were drinking.
But I was happy there sober.
Yeah, yeah.
Like 2 lads that I'm friends with, that I like, that I have good crack with. When guys wanted to go in like to a nightclub at like 3 a.m, I'm like, I'm not really comfortable there sober, so it's not really my thing anymore. I'm just not going to go there.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know?
And they're going to be in a state where they're not even going to realise anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And this was kind of like this rule that I created to myself, like, if you wouldn't be comfortable there sober, don't go there. And it's so simple, but it works. Like music, I love concerts, festivals, that sort of thing. So I'm actually happy to go to them sober. I mean, I listen to music all the time.
What's the difference like? Like, what's it been like? 'Cause clearly you'd have gone to music and festivals before.
Yeah.
And now you're going sober. How would you describe the difference?
Yeah, well, so I've gone to like festivals and stuff like sober.
Yeah.
And like I love it, but like I'll have some caffeine, like can of Monster or whatever, and a few coffees, whatever, and yeah, like because I love the music, I love the DJs. Like I went to college there sober last year in Dubai, like had a great night. I absolutely love him as a DJ. Now I've also went to like I've been at Tomorrowland for the last 3 years. First year I would have been drinking pretty heavy and doing everything else as well. Last year I went and I didn't, just summer gone, I didn't drink. So I haven't drank now in 14 months.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I've give up alcohol. I just don't need it right now.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't feel the need to say I've quit alcohol. Just haven't drank in 14 months because I don't need to. And I don't plan to change that. But I'm not one of these coaches who's going to sit around and say, oh yeah, you need to give up alcohol while they're out on the bag all weekend themselves. Like, because that is the norm. Like, let's be honest.
So many. Well, we both know a very, very famous coach that's doing that. So,
like, yeah. So that's not me. Like, I'm honest. Do I take drugs? Yes, I do. I take mushrooms. I don't even class it a drug. I don't think it should be illegal. It just grows in the ground. It's fucking natural. Couple of times in a year, like not very often, I'll take MDMA, clean and tested, and I'll take LSD. For me, 3 days at Tomorrowland with mushrooms, LSD, and MDMA, all like clean, all tested, all measured out and taken in responsible doses. I wake up Monday morning, look a little bit tired, like serotonin levels a little bit down naturally, but genuinely feeling like a better person than I was like Thursday.
Yeah.
Like just a life-changing experience. When I done that with alcohol mixed with all those things 2 years previous, man, if you could have shot me that Monday morning, I would have said, go ahead, put me on my misery.
Yeah.
And everyone says, yeah, like MDMA, it's a fucking great drug, but come down's rough, isn't it? And I'm like, did you ever actually take it without alcohol?
Yeah.
And everyone's like, no, I didn't actually.
Yeah, it's emphasizing the...
And it's just like, when you actually go and you look at, like, there's websites that show you safe drugs and what you should mix and what you shouldn't mix, what's really dangerous to mix. Alcohol doesn't mix with any drug. Like even weed, even mushrooms, it's like not recommended to mix with alcohol. And for some reason, it's acceptable because it's legal.
Yeah.
Don't think it means it's okay. I'm not anti-alcohol.
Yeah.
There's some people that are like, I'll have a few pints and enjoy it.
I drink, and I'm not particularly preachy about alcohol, but I respect that it's dangerous, and I don't think many people do because it's allowed.
Yeah.
But like there are many drugs that are illegal that are far safer than alcohol.
Yeah, 100%. And look, can the likes of MDMA and acid and stuff be abused? Like 100%. But one of my, and I see, I'm really open about this on like my socials, my clients and stuff. A lot of my clients come to me because they actually want to improve their relationship with alcohol, but they don't want to live a boring fucking life.
Yeah,
Sitting in watching Coronation Street every weekend, like nobody wants to do that. So they're afraid to give up alcohol because their life will be boring. But my life is not boring.
Do you think the reason they're afraid to give up alcohol is because their life is boring?
Well, that's probably the reality. The only thing they have in their life is alcohol.
So how do you make sure your life's not boring? That's a really interesting point for people listening, because most people, even business owners, they get up on a Monday, they go to work, maybe get into work 8:30, getting out of work at 5:30, they go home, cook the tea, put the kids to bed, catch up on Bake Off, do that 5 days a week. By the time it gets to Friday, they're fucked. Saturday, they laze about a bit, mow the lawn. Sunday, they do some washing, fold the clothes, remember that they're meant to go to the gym, so they go to the one gym session they've done all week.
Yeah.
And then they watch the Formula One and then repeat.
For me, it's like you gotta decide what like really actually excites you, and you know some of it will be a little bit challenging, but like it comes back to the thing that there is no comfortable life. Like,
yeah,
you know, to what you just described, which sounds comfortable and easy, it's not actually, because they're all overweight,
mundane
depressed,
shit.
you know, then probably drinking all Saturday night, then folding those clothes, depressed and hungover on Sunday, you know, kids screaming, you know, it's an escape. It's not comfortable either.
Yeah.
You know, it's comfortable in the moment, but it's not comfortable. So kind of choose your discomfort. Like for me, jiu-jitsu is a massive one of them. Like I still train jiu-jitsu like at least 3 times a week. That's a massive part of what makes my life not boring. Things then, like simple things the weekend, like I will always train jiu-jitsu on a Saturday morning so that I don't actually want to go drinking on a Friday night.
Yeah.
I used to drink, like Friday night was a big drinking night for me, because like, oh, week is over now, let's go.
Yeah, and you've got the weekend to recover, yeah.
But then it was also Saturday and Sunday, you know, so it's like, it's just starting earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like now, it's like, and then you go train jiu-jitsu, open mat, whatever, on Saturday, you're like, you feel so good, but also so shit after that, because you've got shit kicked out of you for like 10 5-minute rounds or whatever, and you're like, not a hope am I going drinking now. You know, it's like, I don't want to have done too much good and I'm also too fucked, you know, and it's just like, let's go down to the sauna and a sea swim or whatever, and you know, and you're chatting to good lads, you're chatting to lads on the same kind of level as you, same buzz. And the more I've done it, and just realised that like nobody wants to be hungover.
Yeah.
Like nobody wants that lifestyle. A lot of people are just caught up in it and don't see a way out of it, and that's kind of what I help a lot of the guys in my program. It's like, you can improve the relationship with alcohol. You don't have to give it up.
Yeah.
You can cut it down a lot. Some guys will end up cutting it out just because they end up creating a life that doesn't need it, similar to myself. Some guys will just cut it down and drink like a lot less frequent, but and with a better relationship with it. And yeah, like one of my clients, I don't even know should I be saying this because it's not good coaching advice, but like one of my clients he was like, Joe, he basically came to me because he was on the bag, like every weekend, and his family, like 2 young kids, 3 young kids, like twins, and it's tough, you know, and I can understand why he's on the bag every weekend. But I was like, do you go get a bag when you're sober? He's like, no, it's always after a few pints. So I was like, so the bag's not really the problem, is it? It's the pints that's the problem, like. So could we cut out the pints for a few weeks and see that things improve? So he done like 6 weeks. He's like, didn't touch the bag.
Yeah.
Nobody ever really does go looking for it sober, you know. And he came to me then and said, look, man, I'm going to a rave with my friends, like, and like, I just know I'm not gonna be comfortable there sober, or like I would be comfortable there sober, but I just know I'm gonna want something.
Yeah.
And I know if I get a few pints, like, I'm gonna end up on the bag and all the rest. And I goes, look, can you get clean tested MDMA? And he said, yeah, I can. I was like, we'll get something. And I said, take 1 clean dose, like 125 micrograms, and he did, and he had fucking night of his life. And he texted me the next day and he's like, J.O., didn't go near the pints, never went near the bag, all the boys were off their face on the bag, wanting more and more and more. I just had 1 bomb, and the boys were even saying to me, like the next morning, like, man, you were smiling all night, like a different man. And then Sunday, he was with his family. You know, he was a bit tired. He's a little bit, you know, like
But if you went to a rave and danced all night, you'd be
he was
tired, right?
anyway.
Yeah.
But he wasn't an anxious wreck. He wasn't, you know, he wasn't down for days and days. He didn't fall out of the gym for like a week afterwards. You know, he was straight in training Monday morning, and yeah, now that guy is like he's committed to do 12 months off it,
Wow.
off the back of that.
That's mega.
You know, because actually after that he went on holidays and he said, "Oh, sure, I'm on holidays. I'll have a beer," and he ended up on the bag.
Oh shit. Yeah.
But see, I'm so open with my clients that he was okay to tell me that, and we hashed it out and we said, "Well, look, what needs to happen here?" And like, do you want my advice on it? And he's like, "Yeah." I said, "I think you need to make a big fucking scary commitment of 12 months, like I did." And he's like, "Fuck, I don't know if I can do that." I was like, "I know. That's why you have to make it." So
Yeah.
he did, and now he's well into that journey. You know, that is not your usual coaching advice, like I said, because most coaches are out there telling their clients, you need to give up drinking, you need to stay off the bag, while they're out on the bag all weekend.
Yeah.
Like, I'm honest with people. I don't drink anymore. I'll go to a festival maybe two, 3 times a year. I'll take a little bit of stuff, but I won't drink. And for me, it's different for everyone. I'm better for it.
Yeah.
There's less negatives.
It's really interesting. See, for me, like I had 9 months not drinking, and I wasn't a particularly big drinker before, but my wife noticed that I'm a bit of a man of extremes. So if I go for a night out, I'm having a night out, and so yeah, like 12, 13 pints, shots, whatever, like get stuck in, and I just started to notice as I got older that it became less frequent because you get invited to less stuff as you get older, you get more boring, but. I just started to notice like having memory gaps and not being quite sure what happened and wasn't good. Yeah. And also, you're not just writing off the next day, you're writing off like the next 6 or 7 days.
Yeah.
Like you get stuff done, but it's not to the standard you normally would.
You have to redo it because it's done so
yeah,
shit.
Yeah, your gym sessions are shit.
Yeah.
Like,
and like that's like there's a reason for that. Like from a scientific perspective, like if you drink, your sleep doesn't return to optimal levels for like 4 days.
Yeah. That's obscene, isn't
So if
it?
you drink like once a week, you're maybe getting 1 or 2 days like optimal sleep in a week.
Yeah.
Then you wonder why
you feel like shit anyway.
Shit, your business is like shit, or you hate your job or whatever. Like it's just not good. Like, you know, like and people would say drinking once a week is like fairly acceptable. It's not heavy drinking. But like when you actually look at the facts, like there is consequences.
Yeah, like, and that's where I am with it now. Is like I'll still have a drink. Sometimes I'll still get drunk, but I have to. I've mentally accepted that the next few days, of
not important.
They're the compromise and so you dramatically reduce the amount of times you do that when you look at it like that, because I'm running a business, got people's wages to pay. I've got a wife to look after, and not look after, that's unfair, she looks after me, but I've got a wife that I'd like to keep, and it's like, okay, maybe 2 or 3 times a year I'm going to have a blowout, but it's not every weekend, it's not even once a month, and like and that's good for my mindset to be like, okay, I'm doing things with my eyes open rather than doing things to keep my eyes closed.
Yeah, 100%. And look, the reality is, like, if somebody drinks like once a week, and you're probably losing a week afterwards, like in terms of optimal performance and sleep and everything. And like when you add that up over, if you drink once a month, and like that's not that much. Like,
no.
But if you lose a week after every time you drink once a month, if you add that up over the year, like that's 12 weeks.
Yeah, 3 months gone.
3 months from just drinking once a month. Of like, gone or not optimal performance. And then people wonder, like, why is my life shit? Why is my business not growing?
Yeah, and like speaking for myself, I'll know. Like, let's say tonight we went and I decided to have 4 pints. Tomorrow I won't eat very well because my body will crave sugar, carbs, everything that I shouldn't have, and I'll give into it as well because the cravings will be strong. And then because I fucked up and not really eating well that day, then I probably won't eat that well on like
Yeah, it's a
Saturday.
vicious cycle.
And then it's like, oh, I haven't really eaten well today. I'll probably have a drink, and then you're fucked.